When Guts initially left the Band of the Hawk, his intention was to pursue a spiritual journey. He wanted to stand by Griffith's side as his equal, but it was never a physical kind of equality that Guts would seek. For if it was, then Guts would have completed his quest before it even began, in the very moment where he defeated Griffith in their final duel. This victory demonstrated that Guts had surpassed Griffith when measured purely in combat prowess, but it also wasn't the kind of thing that could provide Guts with the sense of equality that he was seeking. For Guts had come to understand that Griffith was possessed by a dream. It was a dream of ultimate freedom, in which Griffith would one day rule over his own kingdom. And it was precisely this dream that functioned as the source of Griffith's charismatic power, more so even than his skill with the sword. And most importantly of all, this dream was also the test by which Griffith measured the worth of other people. For Griffith could not respect another person unless they too possessed a dream of self-realization that was as grand as his own. And yet that was also the one thing that Guts did not possess. He had no grand vision of a future self that he wanted to become, and Guts allowed himself to believe that this made him inferior to Griffith. And that was the sole reason why Guts would abandon Griffith's side with the Hawks. He embarked on a journey in search of a dream that Griffith could respect. But here's a question. What did Guts actually find in this year-long spiritual journey? It turns out that Guts didn't actually find very much. Or at least he did not find a dream in the sense of some kind of grand future that he would seek to realize in the way that Griffith does. Instead, Guts found something that was more akin to a reinterpretation of his present self. Because he came to see that he didn't actually want to be a king, or really much of anything beyond what he already was. And as a matter of fact, Guts had already achieved the dream of self-realization that he had once believed was missing from his life. That dream was his sword, and the idea that he would wield it for no one other than himself, not even Griffith. Because Guts was a swordsman in his very essence, and his sword was like a part of his own body. And so to wield it for himself is simply to be the master of his body. It is the swordsman's ultimate freedom, and there was nothing beyond this freedom that Guts would require for satisfaction in his life. And that was actually what made Guts different from Griffith. Griffith was only ever a swordsman temporarily, as a kind of stepping stone to a shinier dream of kingship that he would never ultimately attain. Whereas Guts had already realized his dream in the very moment when he left Griffith's side, as he regained control of the sword that symbolized his body.